In a small, idyllic town nestled between towering mountains and endless forests, lived a young girl named Eliza. Eliza was known for her voracious appetite, and her insatiable hunger made her the subject of gossip amongst the townsfolk. Her family, concerned about her well-being, often scolded her, urging her to eat in moderation and not be so greedy. But there was an inexplicable force driving her hunger, a darkness lurking beneath the surface. One summer day, the town's annual fair rolled into town, bringing with it a whirlwind of excitement and joy. The fairgrounds buzzed with laughter and the aroma of delicious smells. Eagerly stepped onto the bustling fairgrounds, she approached a quaint food stand run by an elderly woman named Mrs. Pettigrew. Mrs. Pettigrew was a mysterious figure, a woman with hollow eyes and gnarled fingers. Her stand was adorned with peculiar symbols. But Eliza was too entranced by the tantalizing array of treats to notice. "Young lady," Mrs. Pettigrew rasped, her voice like dry leaves rustling in the wind, "you can have as much as you'd like, free of charge. You're my only customer to date." Eliza's eyes lit up with delight. It was a rare occasion for her to be offered free food, and she wasted no time in devouring the candy apples. She thanked Mrs. Pettigrew and even took a third candy apple to enjoy later. Weeks passed, and something changed within Eliza. A haunting pain twisted and gnawed at her insides. Her stomach was a writhing pit of agony. Her family, alarmed by her deteriorating health, rushed her to the town doctor, Dr. Mitchell. Dr. Mitchell, a kind-hearted man, ran a series of tests on Eliza. Desperate to find the cause of her suffering, the results left him stunned and horrified. Inside Eliza's stomach were 3 fully grown snakes, their sinuous forms wriggling and coiling within her. The news shocked the small town, spreading like wildfire. The only hope for Eliza was for the snakes to pass through her digestive system. But the thought of such a horrifying ordeal made her family's heart ache with helplessness. Days turned into weeks, and Eliza's pain intensified. The snake's hunger seemed to merge with her own, causing an insatiable appetite. She yearned for the creature's preferred diet of rats, rodents, and bugs. The once beloved meals her family prepared disgusted her, for now she craved the taste of vermin. Eliza's family watched in despair as she wasted away, her body deteriorating. Her once radiant eyes were now full. Fear and anguish edged across her face. The bulging, serpentine forms moved within her, visible from time to time beneath her gaunt skin. The town, gripped by fear, could only offer prayers for the young girl whose body had become a host for unspeakable horrors. Whispers of curses and dark magic circulated the town, each story more terrifying than the last. Days turned into weeks, and as the snakes continued to torment Eliza, a grim realization dawned upon her family. There was no other choice but to let the serpents pass through her. It was a gruesome and terrifying prospect, but it seemed to be the only way to save her. In a makeshift room, surrounded by desperate prayers and flickering candles, Eliza endured the unimaginable. The serpents wriggled and squirmed, causing her excruciating pain. Each movement felt like a living nightmare. The air was thick with the stench of fear, sweat, and the unholy presence within her, with a final surge of torment and agony. the serpents passed through Eliza's body, she collapsed, gasping for breath. Her body battered and weak, the snakes, now lifeless and grotesque, lay beside her, a monstrous testament to the horror she had endured. Though the serpents were expelled from her body, the ordeal had left its mark. Her appetite was forever altered, forever mirroring that of the snakes that had inhabited her. She could eat nothing but the food they crave, rats, rodents, and bugs. Still, Eliza lived the rest of her life in seclusion, haunted by the memories of that ghastly experience. The town never forgot the girl whose body had been a battleground for an evil force. The fairgrounds where it all began remained abandoned, a grim reminder of a day unleashed unimaginable horror, and somewhere in the shadows, the evil spirit of Mrs. Pettigrew, the twisted old woman from the fair stand, lurked, her laughter echoing through the empty halls of the witch's house. For the darkness that had taken root within Eliza had merely found a new host, waiting to strike once more, and the town lived in perpetual dread of the evil that had seeped into their midst.